Welcome to Speidel's California Minute. I'm your host, Catherine Zidane. This week we're looking at various provisions that California now does or does not conform to following the passage of SB 711. Make sure to sign up for Speidel's federal and California tax update to learn more about these and other new areas of conformity and nonconformity and which adjustments will be required on the California return. For details, go to speidel.com and click Webinars. For years, California's conformity to federal law has been spotty at best. This continues to be the case even with California's recent enactment of SB 711, the bill that updated California's specified conformity date from January 1, 2015 to January 1, 2025. In theory, this would mean that California would automatically incorporate all tax changes enacted at the federal level over the last 10 years. But that is not the case. SB 711 adopted dozens of new provisions that specifically state that California will not conform to many of the federal changes enacted during this period. In addition, the way California's law is written, even with the update to the January 1, 2025 conformity date, California will continue to not follow federal law in numerous areas. In the last month, we've covered a variety of new conformity areas in our California Minute podcast, such as the treatment of some retirement income and alimony. Today, we're going to highlight some of the new areas of conformity and continuing nonconformity. In terms of new conformity, California now conforms to the Federal Research Credit's Alternative Simplified Credit, although using different percentages, which will make life much easier for taxpayers who claim the Alternative Simplified Credit on their federal return. California conforms to the increased non-taxable loan amounts for disaster victims from qualified retirement plans, the disallowance of business expense deductions for penalties and fines imposed by governmental agencies and other non-governmental organizations such as the SEC for various violations and investigations, and the disallowance of business expense deductions for local lobbying expenses or legal expenses associated with sexual harassment or abuse settlement agreements involving non-disclosure agreements. California also conforms to the use of the 200% declining balance method when depreciating farm equipment, rather than being limited to the 150% declining balance method. We conform to the $500 penalty imposed against tax preparers who claim head of household status for their clients without adequate due diligence, and the increased penalties for failing to file correct information returns, with the maximum penalty increased from $130 to $340 per return. However, California continues to not conform to federal law in numerous areas, including bonus depreciation, 179 expense amounts, shorter recovery periods for qualified improvement property, and increased depreciation for luxury autos, the 15-year mandatory amortization of foreign research expenses, the 80% taxable income limitation for net operating losses, the 5-year holding period for the S-corporation built-in gains tax, the limitations on meal and entertainment expenses, the increased 60% charitable contribution individual deduction cap for cash contributions, the treatment of gambling losses, and the repeal of personal casualty losses. California also does not conform to the enhanced casualty loss deduction provisions for qualified disaster losses, which includes the repeal of the 10% AGI limitation and allowing non-itemizers to claim disaster losses. And California does not conform to non-taxable 529 rollovers to IRAs and non-taxable 529 distributions used for elementary and secondary school tuition and expenses. In addition, California will not conform to any of the new below-the-line deductions for qualified tips, overtime, the senior exemption deduction, and the interest deduction for loans on qualified passenger vehicles. Speidel's analysis and explanation of California taxes is the most complete and best-priced California tax guide available, and it's currently being updated to reflect 2025 law changes, including the new conformity bill. You can pre-order a print or online version of the 2026 edition at speidel.com under Publications. That's all for this week. Join us next time for another episode of Speidel's California Minute.